Good morning, Lafayette. Man, what a night last night was. What a beautiful day we have in store for us today. And hopefully, you are getting along very nicely here in the local Midwest area. If you are tuning in to Let's Talk Lafayette, I am your host, Brian Burden. I am a meteorologist. I consider myself a winter weather expert because I did a lot of time in Antarctica forecasting weather down there. And I've done a lot of forecasting in the Lafayette area too, from TV to working over at Grissom and to a lot of other places. And what you're going to find on this show is a lot of weather. I'm going to talk a good 30 minutes of weather. A lot of places you get 3 minutes and that's it. You're done and you're gone, right? Not here. Here we're going to talk weather at least half the show. Going to go an hour probably, but a half of it will be weather, and we will talk a little bit of sports. There was a big game last night that we'll talk about. That may cover up the rest of it. Then we'll try to hit a few local things here or there. Get in the chat with me real quick when you get a chance, and we'll talk a little bit if you'd like to do that, and give me some questions, and we'll go from there. Right. So let's do the first thing we need to do right away, which is make sure that you know exactly what's happening each and every day in the Lafayette area and what the weather looks like right now. So I'm going to go ahead and switch right over to the uh, picture and hit the highlights of what's happening currently outside at 8:54 a.m. is when they took this observation. It is 28 degrees, but it is sunny outside. Feels like 25 though to most of us. So, uh, oh, nice, nice. And then expect some sunny skies today. That's for sure. You're going to see a lot of sunshine. I'll get into the satellite picture here pretty soon. And then we're going to see definitely some pickup in the winds as the day goes on. But right now, it's only at 7 miles an hour. So it does make it feel like it's about 20, but it's still a pretty nice morning this morning. And as you could tell, I'm still having problems making sure that I'm getting volume out and everything's going the way it's going. And that's why the phone popped in there to let me know that, yes, the volume is getting out. Here's kind of a look at the MSN's weather pattern. What they see a high today of 42, tomorrow 41, then 51, 55, 57. You notice the pattern up, 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 up. So we're continuing with this thought process that's going to get warmer next week, and we could be in the 60s, maybe even an isolated chance that we could get into the 70s as a possibility over the next week or so. But definitely some good warm weather for us compared to what we saw last month. Now, let's take a look at this. Here's your big satellite picture. Satellite, the United States as a whole. First thing to think of is here. Let me put the cursor where we are. There we are. If you can see the cursor on your chart, hopefully you can see that. There is where Lafayette is and Indiana as a whole. I've got all the counties listed on here right now and all the states. And then I've got most of the main rivers and the interstates on here for you to see. Kind of gives you a good reference of where you are on the chart. But you notice there is nothing around us really. Most of the clouds have all passed off. There's a bigger low pressure system up over north, east of the Great Lakes. You have a system coming in on the southern coast of South Carolina, Southern California. Pineapple Express kind of look to it here, where you start to see the jet stream pulling in all this moisture. Then it gets to the Rocky Mountains and starts to fall apart. But we'll keep an eye on this because I think that may generate up a storm here in Texas in the next week or so that we'll have to watch. Meanwhile, what went through yesterday has already passed to the south, and it was dry when it went through us, just as expected. Not much to happen. A few showers popped up along the Ohio River, just as expected, and they have now pressed into the Carolinas. So we are in a big area where there is high pressure right now, and we are being controlled by that, and it looks like it's going to be pretty good. Let's zoom in a little bit closer, though. I know we want to see what's going on locally. Look at this across the state. You can see the ice actually on Lake Michigan very easily on the outstretch there, a little colder, but the water, the open water is warm. And look how the clouds are streaming off of there, right? So you know you're getting some light snows in places up along the lake there to the north of us, especially up towards the central portion of the lower Michigan right there. Awesome on the other side of the lake. Everything is quiet, high pressure in control starting to build in. And that is going to be our big theme for the next week or two is lots of high pressure systems, very quick moving, little, very weak systems with very little chance for precipitation. And it could be like next Saturday before we see some decent precipitation if something doesn't change. That's when the next big storm is listed to come in, or at least a significant rainfall at that one, is it'll still be pretty warm. Otherwise, a couple sprinkles here or there is about it, and I don't even know if those are gonna happen, so we'll keep an eye on that as we go. How about what does it look like outside? So, I went out and I started getting some of the camera shots. This is, State Road 28 down by Frankfort, and what I want you to notice is, look at the snow still on the ground out here in places, right? Even though it's getting so much warmer. Beautiful blue skies, everything looks great there. As we go back towards the north, here we are back up to state well, this is the second Frankfort, camera that is on there, and you can kind of see that same thing. You still see snow in the distance all over the ground in places down towards this is towards our south now of Lafayette, right? We're back to that camera. Then we come up to State Road 38 and we start to still see some snow in the shadows, but we're starting to lose a little bit of that. Beautiful blue skies. Traffic isn't too bad right now. Traffic on the nines. Here we are. Oh, sorry about that. Had to jump that one in there. You go all the way up to State Road 26, gorgeous. Now I'm hardly seeing any snow left. Look at this. Not much. There's some piles in spots, but not much for snowfall at all. Here you are when you can see a little bit farther out. Now we're talking State Road 25 and very little. Again, same thing. Shadows or piles is about all that's left here on State Road 25. Traffic looks pretty good on that front right now. And then when we go farther out, let's go up to State Road 43. Looks pretty nice. Just the piles along the side of the roads. Couple spots where shadows are. Same thing here, right? So in the Sunday, they get a little sun in the morning, but then this is all in the shadows during the rest of the day, coming in from the opposite direction. And then as we take a look a little farther to the north, look at this, all the way up to State Road 18, and there's barely anything anywhere for snowfall. Barely anything left. So we did get some of that warmth into the local area the last couple of days to kind of take a good shot and get rid of most of the snow around the local Lafayette area as we expected, as we still had some still kind of lingering on the ground. While everyone to our west was starting to clear out and to our northwest, we eventually did get to that point. So pretty good, at least on that front. All right, so let's dive into the maps. Let's get into them. We already have seen that it's sunny outside. Traffic's looking good. Snow is melting. It seems like a nice morning. We're around average 27 degrees. It's not bad at all. So let's start off with the temperatures. And I'm going to start off on the HER model. It's now 100% in, showing a high temperature today. Let's see what it tops out at. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, we got a 43 right there. Now you see the 43 is on Lafayette. So anywhere around here, 43. The big high is out to our west. This is later this afternoon, right? Late this afternoon, around 3 or 4 o'clock, when we peak out of our temperature, and the high is centered over the southern Iowa, northern Missouri, and western Illinois, right along the Mississippi River. But where are we at this morning? We come back and here we are right now, 14Z, which is 9 o'clock in the morning. Just after that, it does show us at 28, so it's within a degree or so. We see cold to the north, but nothing dramatic like we saw a couple weeks ago, where it was minus 20 up there, that kind of thing. Just looking along those fronts, and we're just starting to pick up the high, starting to form itself in here and move in. And there it is over Kansas at about noon this afternoon, maybe 11 o'clock, and it just kind of forms and moves along through there. The high was always there. It's just getting more organized and it's kind of moving towards Lafayette. Here we see it overnight tonight. We see the temperatures dropping back off again tonight, but look at it's only in the mid 20s. Not bad. And we won't see much for cloud cover. The high is back now up over the southern Wisconsin area, maybe northern Illinois by this time frame. Our winds are still kind of disheveled. We really don't have much for wind at all. It's kind of every little direction. And that's what happens a lot of times when a high pressure system comes over you. Less wind in the high, usually in the center of the high. And it can kind of come from any direction sometimes when you do that. Good news is that means not much for wind chill tomorrow morning. So only any gustiness will be earlier today as we go through the day. And then we go through tomorrow. And how much do we warm up on this tomorrow? Only shows us around 43 or so, and then backs off again for Friday morning when we should see a low somewhere around normal, around 25 to 27 degrees. So that's temperature wise. And why did I start with temperature? Because there's nothing there precipitation wise. Let's take a look at it. Let's go back to precipitation type. Here's the big high right there. We've seen that. We can see the flow around the system coming out of the north, but the temperatures have been warmer up here. So while it's chilly, it's not real off the charts cold at all. Very, very much normal for this time of the year, even above normal. As we go through today and tomorrow, we see the high kind of building in through kind of its extravagance, its push is from Illinois all the way up into Wisconsin. and it's kinda just, disorganized, then organized, then disorganized, but it's still kinda in the same general area coming across us tomorrow, and then as it crosses on Friday, this is Thursday night now, Friday getting into Friday, we start to set it up towards Ohio, then we're gonna return our flow back to the South by Saturday, and you expect Saturday to be even warmer than Friday. So, today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, kinda somewhere in the mid we'll call it low 40s to maybe even mid 40s, 45. I like it with a lot of sunshine and the snow starting to dissipate, warms the ground up a little more. So 43 to 45, we'll call the high today and probably about the same tomorrow. Not much of a big change. Today will be windier, so it'll feel colder, and tomorrow it may feel a little warmer. So that's Wednesday into Thursday. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday with this high moving off to our southeast, right? And then there's another one out here to the west of us. We're going to get into a southerly flow, nothing real dramatic, but it's going to start warming us up slowly. And we're going to see that through that. Let's take a quick look, see what we have for wind gusts just to go through the day to show you. Here we are this morning. Nothing really major. We're 15 to 20 knots anywhere in throughout Indiana today. But as the day goes on, everything will start to slowly dissipate. You notice there we are 15 to 20. Here's the high. See the high right there? You can pinpoint it by the winds very easily. No wind over Missouri at all. And then this is late this afternoon. And then by this evening, it's coming closer to us. And look at this by tomorrow morning. Here we are at midnight. It's down to 3, and we are just kind of getting the influence of the high, and it takes over all day tomorrow. We're single digits until late into the afternoon, which is normal. You usually pick up your winds a little stronger in the afternoons compared to at night, and then overnight tomorrow night goes calm again or close to it. Very little on the wind front there. So those are all good news things for us. All right. So let's go out and look a little bit more at the precipitation outlook because there just isn't a ton of it. I'm going to go through several of the models here for us real quick here. Let's look at the NAM, and I'm going to go back to the 6Z because the 12Z hasn't run through yet. It shows the rains to the south, maybe a little lake effect stuff coming off of the lake right now. And then it just doesn't have anything. It shows the high building in, coming across, right? There's some variances in exactly where the high is going to be, and that could change your temperatures depending on the model. But high pressure takes over. A little dinky system with probably more clouds than anything else tries to cross under the high and nowhere near us. So that's good for us when it comes to that front. And then the high just kind of anchors itself in there. We have what we call ridging coming out from the high, which means it's like a trough. So the low has a trough, and you can see some kinks in the isobars to show you where the trough is and the frontal system is, right? We call it a ridging when it comes away from a high. It's the same kind of thing. It's a curvature, and we see the curvature coming from the high back up towards Iowa into Minnesota. So that ridging is to our west, and this is on Saturday morning, early Saturday morning, like midnight or so. And then we watch a system developing there. It's trying to bring it in closer and closer to us. And right now, as of Saturday about noon, it shows a low pressure system right around Oklahoma and the Texas Panhandle, right? And it shows a lot of moisture streaming up here. I'm interested to see what the new models do. Remember, yesterday, if you were following along yesterday, it kept most of the rain to the south of us. It didn't show this much rain to the north up in Iowa. Let's see what the European model, uh, the European model, which I like to call the excitement model because it throws out all these big numbers a lot of times and makes us think there's just going to be bad weather. Now, you notice here on this one, on the European model, most of the rain is still to the south. There's a little bit of some rain to the north up in Nebraska. And again, this is Saturday noon. We're still looking pretty good. As long as this front stays to the south, we're going to be high and dry for a while. Look how close it's coming, though. All right. This is closer than yesterday. Yesterday, this batch was down farther to the south. So this is something to bear and to watch for Saturday night into Sunday, even though most of the forecast still says it's dry. How close will this get? I've been telling you this for 2 days now. Keep an eye on this system because at first, I think on Monday morning it showed way up here, and then Tuesday it bounced it back down to here. Now it's kind of in between. That may have even been Sunday that it showed it up here. I wasn't on Sunday. I didn't tell you guys, but I looked at it. Um, because the weatherman keeps track of what's going on, right? Kind of, it's in the blood. You just keep going back and looking at charts, no matter what it is. But then you notice it gets us though. It gets us right on the edge. Now, how much are we talking here? This is nothing for precipitation wise, 2/100ths of an inch. So we're on the northern edge, and the snow is way up to the north. The line we generally think of the snow, the 5,400 line, which is a thickness line. We call it the 540 line also. far to the north. So this is all rain with the system, but that's pretty close to us. That is Sunday morning, but then it passes off and just keeps right on going. And then we're out to Tuesday with nothing. All right, so let's go back to where we were with this system right here. And now let's change models to the GFS, the global model, right? And it has it pretty much in the same place. I don't see any moisture up in northern Nebraska, but there wasn't much there anyway on the other model. Now let's see how close this brings us. Now look at this. It stays south still. All right. So the GFS is still keeping it just south of us. What we will see is cloud cover, obviously, from this. We'll see some clouds, and then somewhere between that line and probably Chicago, the clouds disappear and everything becomes open skies again. But right now, it says it's going to stay south of us on Sunday, and we push it out, and where's another big high kind of takes over the area, right? And we just kind of sit here. Now another low passes off to the north next Wednesday. This is next Wednesday. We still haven't seen any rain. No rain, no snow, no nothing. Here we are into Friday next week. Now we have a developing system. Okay, this one's a little more complicated here, but a little more classical towards what you would see with weather. We have a low pressure system that is centered in South Dakota, right here, right? Lafayette is way out over here. Okay. There's a secondary low that is in southern Nebraska. So what we would see is a big old warm front coming out of the front here, right? Out of the low pressure system, some type of warm front right here. And along the warm front, you can see showers and maybe an isolated thunderstorm. And that's where Lafayette would be next Friday. This would be midnight, Friday, Thursday night into Friday morning is what we'll call it, 1 in the morning. And then the low developing here with the trough and the low and the cold front extending back down towards the south. Now, as we go through the period, the warm front goes by us, right? And the low generally, look at this, is still back into Minnesota and it is wrapped around. And what we'll see is along the trough, along where the warm front was, is the low that was here became disorganized, but will organize itself somewhere, probably in Wisconsin. And then we'll see what happens there. Sure enough, there it is, starting to pop up the second low right here, right there, even though you don't see the closed low. This is a closed low when there's a circle around it. That's what we call a closed low. This is an open low. There's no closing of the isobars. That's all it is. It's the closing of the pressure. It's still one low pressure system, one low pressure system. This one not quite as organized as that one. But look at the line of thunderstorms right here. This would be next Friday evening, the 21st. And that has some potential for some thunderstorms in it right there. So that's, again, a long ways off. We're talking 9 days. So uh, keep an eye on this. Look how pretty dense that rain gets there as it goes through. And then it just kind of runs on through. And then the next system maybe later, about the 24th of February. Now we're way out there. So a couple systems later in the time frame. I want to go back to this one real quick. Let's see what we have for convective activity on this. What does it show? Lapse rate, supercell composite. Is it going to run for me? All right. No strength indexes, nothing on there. Maybe it has to kinda get through it before it'll run it. I'm not sure on that surface-based cape, but there'll be some potential for some thunderstorms in here next Friday night into Saturday morning, it looks like. Right now, it's late day Friday, which is not a good time for us, right? Later in the day, very early in the evenings, once the heat is the most, even this time of the year, it's the warmest, and you get those big contrasts. I don't see the huge contrast. There goes the charts for us, catching up a little bit. Maybe it's my internet more than it is anything else. Uh, it still shows some composite winds behind the system, and that's your pushing force behind it. What kind of capes do we have here? We see the capes showing some potential for some unstable air in there, and then this one here shows the unstable. The really, really good chance. See how it pops up to our west during the day on Friday, and then by the evening it kind of dies away, and most of your intensity is down to Tennessee and northern Alabama, Mississippi area for thunderstorm activity during that time frame. So there's a lot going on there. Let's look at temperatures though, real quick on this. We'll go back. We know there's a warm up. Let's see how warm it says next week. We're on lines. We see the highs. Everything is in the right place. Here's Sunday shows a high of 45, and then we're talking 52, 53 on Monday, and we're talking about close to 60 on Tuesday, 54, 55. It's showing here. Then we are close to 58 on Thursday. No, that would be Wednesday next week. And then here we go. we're just right there. You can see the 60s and 70s not very far away from us. We're just blocked out enough with the wind. And then here comes the low. See the low? Look at all this warm air here, 60s and 70s on Friday afternoon, and it shows us hitting at least 60 degrees on Friday afternoon next week. So optimistic for some warmth. But then I'm starting to see in the really, really long range forecasts are starting to show, see this here towards the end of the month, some cold coming back into us towards the end of the month. This is the 27th. It'd be 1 o'clock in the morning on the 27th of February. So starts to show the cold coming back. So a big up period, warming, nice warmth for a week or so, and then maybe some big downturns for a while. When I go back to the chart here, I think you've all seen this if you've been watching me for a little while. You've seen this chart that shows the highs and lows. Statistically, here's what happened yesterday. All right, yesterday, February 10th, the high was 52. Normally it's 35. So we were way above, 17 degrees above normal yesterday. And the daily low is 31, but we actually got down to 19. So it was pretty chilly yesterday morning. All right. So when you take or it's the average is 19, so we were still warm. Sorry about that. But look at the cold. It's been very cold for almost a month, a good over 3 weeks, and it was kind of warmish. Then it was cold. Then it was warmish. It was really cold in December. Generally speaking, so far the winter's been cold. Now the forecast shows warm for about a week or two right here, getting towards the end of February, and then boom, it falls off, and we go way below normal again in the latter portions of February to the beginnings of March, where highs are only in the 20s. Look at this. Here's a day here. Which day is this? This is saying March 2nd, the high will only be 11 and a low of -9. And then a couple days later, March 6th, a high of 13 and a low of -5. Now, again, a long ways out, but let's keep that in trend. The trend for sure looks to be up and then down. Now, will it get this cold or this warm? We'll have to see as we get closer and closer. Then it rebounds into the middle of March as you go towards April, and you're getting, again, more of this up and downs like we see during the spring time frame. During that time frame. That's why I like that chart so much. Again, the dashed bottom lines are your lows on the average, and the dashed top line is your highs on the average. Today, the system actually shows a high daily high of 42. The historical daily high is about 36, so it shows it's above normal. It says our low is be 25, and on the average, it's 19. Not a bad little chart. Pretty easy to read, I think, at least for me anyway. Maybe it does the same thing for you. Meanwhile, lots of sunshine, mix some clouds here or there, and wow, it's just gonna be a great period with, warmer temperatures moving in and, better weather than we have seen over the last, oh, geez, month, a good month, 3 weeks anyway, where it's been so cold, so cold. Got my big old jug back, I bought a new one, had to get one, had dropped the other one and broke it. Good news here, 30 degrees right now, 30 degrees outside. All right, so let's pop back out so you can see my ugly mug a little closer. There you go. And we'll keep that on track there. Now I can go look at some other things here. And of course, look at that. Only 24 minutes of weather. What is up with that? That shows you how good the weather is. There's not a ton to talk about other than some nice warming up and then maybe some cold towards the end of the month. And we're watching two systems that are still a week out with very little of any chance of precipitation other than those two. And the one this weekend we'll watch because it is close to us enough that we'll have to keep an eye on it while one model brings us some rain, the other ones do not at this point. All right, what else is big in the news right now? Well, of course, there was a big time basketball game last night as the Purdue Boilermakers took on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, the number 7 Nebraska Cornhuskers. Yes, you heard that right, not football, basketball number 7 Nebraska Cornhuskers. And Purdue won the game 80-77. As it says here, outlasts Nebraska basically. And there was a gambit of emotions in this game, a gambit. I was just following it on the internet. I wasn't watching it actual gameplay, just following, watching numbers and seeing things happen. And I was like, what is going on here? Right? What is this? The game started out as excitement. You're excited they're going to play, and well, what are we going to see? What's going on? And then you're like, they played so good at the beginning. They were up 14-1 at the beginning, really quick, and you're thinking, wow, this is the preseason number 1 baby team that we were really thinking about. Baby, we got this thing covered, right? and they end the half, and they got a 16-point lead, and you're thinking, "This is great." Then they come out of the blocks, and they score, like, the first 6, and they're up 22, and you're thinking it's a blowout, right? And then things started to happen, right? You started to take quick shots, you started to miss shots, the other team started to score back and forth. But you're thinking it's a 22-point lead, it dropped to 15, went back up to 24, got to 24 points at one point. And then all of a sudden they started chipping away and chipping away. There was an 18-2 run at one point, got it back down to like 4 points. At that point, I'm in bewilderment. What's going on here? What is happening, right? I'm sure many of you were too. Now I'm thinking, just survive this thing. We'll be okay. We'll be okay. Then there's anguish. You get to the end, and all of a sudden you're missing free throws, like 4 out of 6 free throws, and Nebraska ties the game up and has a free throw to win the game, and the guy misses the free throw, luckily. So you're like bewilderment, you're just asking for survival, then there's anguish because you think you're gonna lose, then there's hope because you're going into overtime, right? And then in overtime, you take a lead, and it looks like you're gonna lead, you're up by 5, you think, "All right, this is great." Next thing you know, you're down 1, looks like you're gonna lose the game, you're now in despair, and then boom, we score the last 4 points, win the game by 3, 80 to 77, and then you're like, "Oh, what a relief. What a relief to get that thing over with," right? What a game. Looked like world beaters, best team in the country the first half, looked like one of the worst teams in the country the second half, doing lots of things that they normally don't do. And the other team hit shots, which was great. Everybody in their world is whining about a wet spot on the court where somebody fell. You can look at the court, you don't see anything. I'm sure something was there, obviously. Um, and now Nebraska fans are so worried that they think that the Purdue fans did it on purpose, like they knew someone was going to run right to that spot and slip and fall, right? All right. Um, let's just look at this way, and I can see positives and negatives for both teams in this. Both teams had some great halves, one great half. Both teams had terrible halves. Both teams missed free throws. Purdue missed a lot more than Nebraska did, but Nebraska missed the one that may have won the game. But Purdue missed 4 before that, literally within 30 seconds of that, that could have put the game away too. So lots of ups and downs in this, but there's information I've got from basically the Purdue Sports website, right where I get post game notes look like this. Purdue outlasted Nebraska 80 to 77 in overtime to improve to 20-4 overall and 10-3 in the Big Ten Conference. The win was Purdue's third in a row after 3 straight losses, with 2 of the wins coming on the road, which is good because one more road game in Iowa on Saturday, right? And then they come home for 3 games, but all these games are hard. The next 4, actually all 7 at the end. I don't care. Wisconsin just beat Illinois. We got to play Wisconsin, and Wisconsin went into Illinois to beat Illinois, right? Even though we beat Wisconsin up at their place earlier this season, Purdue did. They're coming to town. You got Indiana coming back. Always a rivalry game is tough. Michigan State's coming in. Michigan's coming in. You're going to Iowa. Who else you got in there? Okay, we've got some bad juju there when you talk about Northwestern having to beat Northwestern at Northwestern. So there's still some tough games left. That is for sure. All 7 of the games that are left, you could say at least 6 of them, it looks like it could be a barn burner, right? Tough games, close games. And like the Michigan game, Purdue may not even be favored, even though they're at home. That's how good Michigan is, right? All right. So the win was Purdue's third in a row, obviously. So the Boilermakers won their 20th game of the season for the 16th time under Matt Painter in 21 years. That's a pretty good record right there. And the Boilermakers improved to 6-2 in true road games this season. The overtime game was Purdue's first since the 2024 Big Ten tournament and was Purdue's first overtime road win since 65-62 win at Nebraska in December 10th, 2022. So that was a while back. They had some bad games at Nebraska. They got blown out in 24 there, or the 24-25 season, whatever it was. That would be the 23-24 season. They got blown out at Nebraska, so they came back and took it back to them. Purdue has 2 road wins over top 10 teams. Number 8, Alabama, and number 7, Nebraska. They're tied with Illinois for the most in the country, and it marks just the second time that Purdue has done that in the AP Top 25 poll era since 1948 and 49. The other season was 09-10. That's back. Was that the Baby Boilers back then? Yeah. Let's see what else went on. Oscar Clough scored the go-ahead basket with 5.9 seconds left in overtime after Purdue trailed 77-75. They had gotten up 75-70, and we were thinking, wow. And then they went on a 7-2 run with 131 left to play, and it just kind of fell apart and looked like they were going to lose it. That's where the despair came from. Um, then in the next possession started with 3.9 seconds, and that's when the guy slipped on. They passed to him. He slipped on the floor, went down, and the ball came to Purdue. There was I don't know if it was a timeout or if it was a foul called, and then I think it was a foul called, and CJ got to go to the line, but it's clear no one touches him and on the foul. I think it was kind of one of those just what is it? We're going to call the foul because the guy got close to you somewhere, but it sure didn't look like it. I didn't get to see the full game to see what happened there, but it was kind of crazy as they just showed a little bit of that clip and they kept going back to the guy falling down. So Purdue improved to 7-4 in quad one games, now tied for fourth most quad one wins in America. Only Duke, Michigan, and Arizona have more. And since the start of the 23-24 season, Purdue is a nation's best 12-5 against top 15 teams. And since 21-22, Purdue is 17-8, a 680 pace against top 15 teams, also the best mark in America. If that doesn't say you're a strong, good team, I don't know what does. Now, we just got to get it done in April, right? This is what these guys are all working for right now. Purdue improved to 138-8 over the last 10 seasons when scoring at least 80 points. All right, so there's the number. 80 is your number. You get to 80 every time you win the game, right? All but one. That's a 945 record. So 94 out of every, or 95 times out of every 100, you're going to win that ball game. Despite the things that happened in this game. Purdue's 46 attempts from three-point range were a school record. The previous had been 36 done, uh, put up, and that had been done 4 other times. I actually like it. It's just guys were missing wide open shots everywhere. Poor Fletch. He starts off hot. It's like 3 for 5, and then he goes like 1 for 12 on the next 12 shots. He took 17 three-pointers. I want him to take 10. I'm not upset about him taking 17 because most time he's going to make 8 or 9 of those, right? And we're all good with that. We're good with 8. But it was a rough night with the shooting. I kept seeing replay after replay after replay of Fletch putting up a shot and he's wide open, nobody's around him, and he just can't make it. And that happens. It happens for all of them. Even if they're close to that, the game is a 10 to 15 point game at the end of the game, and Purdue's already won the game. But it didn't happen that way. That's why they play the game, right? Purdue senior class now has won its 107th game during their careers, and that's tied for the 4th most by a class in school history. It has won 55 Big Ten Conference games, just 4 shy of the league record of for a class of 59 done by the Purdue class of 2025 and 2024. Indiana classes of 78 and 70, or yeah, 78 and 77 also did the same thing. Purdue improved to 24-13 in Big Ten road games since the start of the 22-23 season, and that is the best mark in the entire league, 24-13. We've always said, go 5-5 on the road, but win all 10 games at home, and you're 15-5, you got a chance to win the league. Well, Purdue's doing a little bit better than that. Obviously, generally they're about 7-3 on the road, 6-4, and that puts them right there. Unusual this year is they've lost a couple games at home. That doesn't usually happen, but it has happened this year. Now, Purdue out-rebounded Nebraska 54-37 and had 11 turnovers to Nebraska's 14. And that's an overtime. Remember, there's overtime, so there's extra turnovers there for that too, and also a few extra rebounds, right? When Purdue wins both categories under Painter, the Boilermakers are 167-16. They win 91 out of every 100 games when they out-rebound the other team and they have less turnovers. There you go, and coach is preaching that all the time, isn't he? Braden Smith scored 13 points with 10 assists and had 8 rebounds, and I thought there's potential for him to get a triple-double there, right? His 25th career double-double, 24 of which are point assist double-doubles. So one of those, he got 10 rebounds. He moved into 7th place on the NCAA career list with 968, moving past Syracuse legend Sherman Douglas, who had 960. Smith also became the school's career leader in minutes played with 4,530 minutes, moving past Etwan Moore, who had 4,517. Yeah, Etwan was out there a lot too. I remember that. Fletch, lawyer, led the Boilermakers with 18 points. So despite the fact that he only made 4 3-pointers, right? Or 4 or 5 3-pointers, he made 4, I think. He still scored 18 points because he got to the boards, he got up on the free throw line, he was doing a lot of other things. Lawyer's 17 three-point attempts were the second most in school history. Carson Edwards jacked up 19 one game, and, so there was that one on that front, and he scored 30 in that game, right? So, Purdue improved to 22 and 0 during Fletcher Lawyer's career when he makes 4. He only needs to make 4 three-pointers, hence he needs to shoot 10 a game. That hits his average of around 40. He's actually better than a 40% shooter. This season, he's below that actually a little bit, but his career is over 40%. All right. So 10. That's why I want him to shoot 10 a game. 10 a game gets him the potential to make 4 every game, and they are 22 and 0 when he does that. All right. Trey Kaufman Wren scored just 6 points. And matter of fact, he didn't even shoot in the first half. 0 points, didn't shoot, but he already had like 9 rebounds in the first half. He grabbed a career high 19 rebounds, 19, including 16 on the defensive end, and tied for the second most in game school history behind Travion Williams is 17, who did that against Iowa back on December 3rd of 21. Now, Oscar Clough, the other side of the big Twin Towers, I guess you could call him that if you wanted to, he recorded a double-double himself with 12 points and 14 rebounds, his 29th career double-double and 6th of the season. His 10 offensive rebounds, tied a school record set 4 other times, most recently by Zach Edey versus Indiana on February 4th of 23. So what a game it was. Again, scored with 3.9 seconds left. Oscar did, made the free throw afterwards. Um, and then guy slips and falls on the floor, and Jakari Harris adds 2 free throws to seal the game up 80-77. And the Cornhuskers, that was on Tuesday night. The Boilermakers recorded their second top 10 win of the season. Nebraska lost for the third time in 4 games following a 20-0 start. Do not be surprised if these guys make it into the Sweet 16 very easily and down to the grade 8 or, Final Four. Nebraska is a good team. Nebraska is a clone of Purdue. They do everything right most of the time. They try to do everything exactly right, knowing that statistically they're going to win in the long run. And that's what they did last night. They look like the team everybody knows. They've come back 3 other times against teams with double-digit leads, but they won those games. They didn't win this one. The one thing that's got me a little worried, just a little worried, is the fact that now teams think they can come back on Purdue because Purdue has allowed UCLA to come back and win. They allowed Indiana to come back and win. Now they allowed Nebraska to come back and almost win. People are noticing that it just appears that Purdue doesn't have that killer instinct to put people away. I think they do. It's a long season. Things like this happen. No one says that about some of the other teams, right? When Michigan wins by 2 and the other team comes back, they just go, "Oh, it was a tough game," and blah, 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 blah. It's the Big Ten. But when Purdue does it, they go, "Oh my gosh, these guys can't handle it." Well, what's wrong with these guys? There's nothing wrong with them. It's a long season. It's a tough, long season. They'll get it going here pretty soon. That is for sure. It looks like they're starting to move towards March Madness and the time to getting into the tournament and doing the best that they can. All right. All right. So let's see. Okay, I told you Nebraska's now 21 and 3. That's their third time in 4 games they lost after a 20-0 start. All 3 losses, though, were to ranked opponents. It's not like they played nobodies. They just got beat by better teams or good teams, really good teams, top 20 teams. And no shame in that at all. Fletcher Lawyer led Purdue with 18 points. Trey Kaufman Wren had a career high 19, and Braden Smith had 13 points, 10 assists, and 8 rebounds. He was too shy of a triple double. And to be truthfully honest with you, it didn't seem like he scored much in the second half. He was hitting guys wide open, and nobody could make it. He could have had 15, maybe even 20 assists if guys hit wide open shots, and there were plenty of them, which surprised me. I thought Nebraska's defense was going to be a little bit better. And then Purdue started leaving them wide open too in the second half. So it was a little crazy there back and forth. Rank Mast led the Huskers with 18 points, and Jamarcus Lawrence added 16. Price Sanford had all 15 of his points in the second half. So there's the guy who bolstered them to the comeback with Sanford in the second half. He made a layup with 131 left in overtime. It gave Nebraska the first lead of the game, 131 left in overtime at 77-75. Clough had a chance to tie it when he got fouled, pulling down an offensive rebound, but he made only 1 of 2 free throws. Purdue missed 4 of 6 down the stretch, right? 4 of 6 important ones. Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer were part of that. They missed 3 of 4 between them, right? And then Clough missed his, and then there was one other one that was missed there, that was in the regulation that could have put the game away. But Clough's putback on the next possession put the Boilermakers up by a point in the final seconds after he missed the free throw. So Lawrence fumbled Sam Hoiberg's inbound pass, and Harris picked up the ball and got fouled. Again, no one near Harris. I don't think he got within a foot of him with his hand. I don't know who made the call. I thought Harris was going to go in for the dunk. He probably just would have run in, over and ran around in a circle, but because there was no one near him. But he still made the 2 free throws. But that gave them a chance. Who knows? Something weird happens after that. If he doesn't inbound the pass and do that, almost no time left on the game. But you never know in these weird things. When you call a foul when there was no one near him to call a foul, I don't understand that. But hey, the Huskers, who overcame 16-point deficits in 2 of their wins, forced overtime and Mass put back with 12.8 seconds left. Mass missed what would have been a go-ahead free throw, and Smith's fall-away jumper in the lane bounced off the rim as time ran out in regulation. So what a ball game it was. It was crazy, and I'm following it just on the internet, and I'm just thinking to myself, "What is going on here?" I couldn't understand it. Let's hit some of the box scores on this real quick. Purdue scored 40 in the first half, only 28 in the second half, and then 12 in overtime. Nebraska, on the other hand, only scored 24 in the first half. They scored 44 in the second half and scored 9 in overtime. And that's how that ended up that way. Obviously, the big point scorers were Lawyer at 18, Smith at 13, Clough at 12. CJ Cox had 11. He had some good play time at the end of the game, too. Trey only had 6, but he only took 5 shots. Trey only took 5 shots, but he had 19 rebounds to go with Clough's 14 rebounds. Purdue out-rebounded them 54 to 37. 54 to 37. That's a 17-point difference. Purdue had the ball and got 76 shots off compared to theirs. Where are they at? Where's they at? Box score, Purdue, Nebraska. I'm not seeing it on here. This is just the Purdue stats on this one. All right, but I know there were like 10 more shots for Purdue than there were for Nebraska. Okay, so those 10 shots mean a lot, right? Even if you're not shooting well, because they didn't shoot well. 28 of 76, they only shot 36%, and their 3-point percentage was 13 of 46. That's only 28%, way below the average for the team, right? So 5 of 19 in the first half, 6 of 19 in the second half, and 2 of 8 in overtime for the 3-pointers. So not great. Second chance points, though, 17. Points in the paint was 24. Points off of turnovers, 19. And the bench came in with 20. Largest lead was 22, it says here. It seemed like it was 24, but maybe it's 22. But still, it was pretty good there on that front. There's just a lot of good numbers. You're noticing a lot of the starters are staying in longer now, but some guys are getting in some really good time. Jack Benner came in, scored 7. Jakari Harris came in and scored 7. Homer Meyer came in, scored 3, and got 2 rebounds. Jack got 4 rebounds. He also had an assist. So coming off the bench, he did some good stuff. Let's see, where's the big man? Daniel got 3 points, no rebounds. We got to get some rebounds out of him. He didn't get a block or anything either. So he only played 5 minutes, right? Because Clough was in there most of the time. And when they replaced Clough, they came in with Benter. Good idea. Really good idea. And this was the first game Jack Benner's plus minus wasn't good, which is weird because normally he's always a positive. But you could see him flying around. He got to 4 rebounds, so he was doing something in his time frame too. And he did score 7 points, along with Jakari Harris, who scored 7 and hit a big 3 down the stretch too. Him and CJ both hit 3s down the stretch that were pretty big, that helped Purdue win this game. Very exciting ball game. Would have been great to be there in person to see it. Would have been nice if it was at Mackey and all of us around town could have been there to see it. But next game comes up Tuesday. Let's take a quick look at the schedule here real fast. We know it's against Iowa, right? In Iowa, 3 days, 7 hours. Comes on, what time is it? Is it 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock Eastern time now is the time frame on February 14th. A Valentine's Day tip for those of you out there that we're going to love Iowa as we leave it afterwards, all right? You got to throw some stats out there and see what's going to happen in this ball game. Overall, what is Kentucky or Iowa right now? Well, Purdue is 20-4, 10-3 in conference. Win streak is 3, home games 11-2, away 6-2. Neutral courts, they're 3-0. And they got a big game coming up against Iowa this Saturday, right? Today's the 11th, 12th. Yeah, yeah, Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Looks like it's on Fox, so you'll be able to watch it on Fox Network here in town. Not a bad deal there on that front. All right, what else is happening news wise? Because there's been a lot of things on here. Um, and when you look at different things happening around the area, I've been going through some of the local activities you can get to. There's been some stories in and out of town. They finally identified the young man who passed away. I think it was Monday morning. Got ejected from his car out in the county somewhere. And so they've identified him as a man in his 20s. Let's see if I can find his name here. It was Monday morning at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Jacob Mahan of Delphi. He was 27 years old. Um, and of course, we put our sympathies and our prayers are out there for the family, to everybody there. And that it seems about once a week we're seeing a car accident somewhere where we lose somebody, and it's a bummer on that kind of, especially when you're in your 20s and 30s, that kind of thing. I want God wants us to be here forever, and hopefully that works out. And we don't have control over everything, right? Other people can do stuff to us, and things can happen, and we'll try to get through that, and muddle through that. And we could be taken away from people very early in our lives when we're least expecting it. That's for sure. Okay, new advocates in Tippecanoe County to support elderly adults. The Wabash Center is welcoming a new class of volunteer advocates for seniors and incapacitated adults through its adult guardianship services program. Tippecanoe County Circuit Court Judge Sean Persian recently swore in the newest volunteer advocates during a ceremony. They are Kelly Jackson, Katie Gutwine, Kristen Ruckman, Dave Maddock, Aaron Katona, Aaron Chen, Alexis Vineyard Henderson, and Marcel Jones. These advocates will support elderly adults who are unable to represent themselves. Great news for people there, helping out in the community and doing some good things for everybody around us. So, oh, there's go. Here's an update that I didn't see until this morning. Right now, suspect confesses in judge shooting case. Uh-oh. Let's see what it says here. Authorities continue to unravel the complexities surrounding the January 18th shooting of Tippecanoe County Judge Steve Meyer and his wife. Prosecutors believe the attack was orchestrated to disrupt a domestic abuse case involving Thomas Moss, who was scheduled to appear before Judge Meyer 2 days later. Moss's girlfriend, Nevaeh Bell, is accused of helping plan the attack and is listed as a business partner with Moss. Blacksmith is accused of purchasing the gun used in the crime, while Amanda Millsap faces bribery charges for allegedly offering $10,000 to prevent testimony against Moss. Zenata Greer is charged with assisting a criminal and resides with with the accused gunman, Raylan Ferguson. Ferguson has confessed to the crime and claims Moss pressured him into resolving Moss's legal issues. Ferguson was reportedly indebted to Moss and Bell through their trucking business, with Moss promising to erase the debt. Court documents also link Moss and Ferguson to the Vice Lords gang, with Moss allegedly offering Ferguson a higher rank for committing the crime. That's what Moss did to him. So Ferguson admitted the initial plan was to stop the victim in Moss' previous case. Bell allegedly helped pay for a burner phone, and Ferguson claimed Bell, Moss, and he were present during the crime's planning. After failing in Pennsylvania, Ferguson was directed to target Judge Meyer. So they went after somebody else first. Now that's going to add even more. That's going to be even worse. Ferguson revealed plans to break in, hold a couple at gunpoint, zip tie the judge, his wife, leave a note, shoot the judge, and exit through the back. He said Moss masterminded the plan, with Smith providing the gun and assisting with Ferguson's disguise. Ferguson also stated that Bell used a work-related app to locate Judge Meyer's house. Wow. They all face attempted murder and conspiracy to commit murder charges, among others. Ferguson's confession did not mention Amanda Millsap or Zenata Greer. The case remains ongoing, with all suspects slated for jury trial on May 6th. Go ahead and check out the WLFI on that. Maybe there's something in the Journal and Courier, and Star City probably has something on that too. So that's a big update where the guy has confessed to doing the shooting on that front. Let's see. Over at Star City, renters are concerned with costs finding affordable housing, according to this report. One of the key findings in the year's rental report from Tippecanoe County Area Plan Commission is a 21% asking rent increase since 2021. Now this all happened. Most of the increases happened in 23 and 24, right? A year or two ago. Survey responses from students in West Lafayette include the report show common themes, including trouble finding affordable housing, wanting lower prices, and wanting more housing options. One statistic shows gradually increasing vacancy rates in West Lafayette. We're happy to see the vacancy rates are ticking up a little bit from where they have in the past. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if they tick up, but there's vacancies, right? They tick up, then you got to drop your price to get people into your place. That's my thought. Last year, with 670 million in public improvements coming through, we've got plenty of interest and plenty of demand and plenty of housing still coming for Lafayette, is what Chad Spixnell explained. He's the director of West Lafayette Housing. So uh, Spitznagel said some of this could be related to changes on State Street that have been happening almost 10 years ago when we worked on the 120 million State Street redevelopment project. The whole intent behind that was to make West Lafayette walkable and not have as many cars going up through State Street. Outside of this area, Spitznagel said educating folks in West Lafayette about using public transportation sources is a focus as well. How do you get educated on which lines are working correctly, whether that's the campus transportation or city bus? And Spitznagel said education doing that is what we're striving to do. Spitznagel also said the city has continued to examine parking numbers. So lots of parking, lots of problems on the west side. Not big problems, but rental problems for the students there. And as it did everywhere in the country in 2023 and 24, prices went through the roof because prices went up for gas, prices went up for everything. Of course, rental went up also. Uh, People keep thinking, well, when are the prices going to drop? They're not going to drop. They're just going to be steady now. That's all you're going to get. Didn't matter who the president was. The best any president's going to be able to do is probably stop 90% of it. And then maybe 5% goes down and maybe 5% goes up. That's the goal. That's the goal. You're going to see very few, if anything, drop in price. Most prices will stay about the same over the next few years for sure. It seems like Trump's got a good handle on it right now, and nothing's been going up. As a matter of fact, we're hitting our GDP numbers almost on the nose. Unemployment's great. Lots of the good things are happening, and everything is steadied off. What does that mean? Well, 2 years ago you could buy, or 3 years ago you could buy a Big Mac for $3. Now it's $6. That's the big news. That's where everything has happened. Everything has doubled in price because of what happened 2, 3 years ago, and we're paying for it still. And what has happened is everything rises, but it never falls, right? And look at the gas. Even the gas went up, it fell down a little bit. And I noticed this with a lot of the gas companies. The price will go up 30 cents above where they really want it, and then it drops back down. And you feel like, oh, we're getting a break, 30 cents. In reality, that's where they wanted to go in the first place because there's always that initial push that goes above. You get used to it there, and when they drop it down, you think you're getting something out of it. But we had gas just 5 years ago that was $1.75 to $1.90 a gallon. We're still paying $2.90, but now you're used to it, right? Because at one point we were 4 something a gallon. So there you go. That's how that works. So well, here's some exciting news. A Klondike middle schooler takes home win in the state chess championship. A student from Klondike Middle School took home a championship in chess. Sixth grader Aporva won first place in 2026 Scholastic Chess of Indiana Middle School Junior Varsity Individual Championship. The school says his hard work, focus, and strategy made all the difference. Now, I have to ask myself, what's his name? Did they want to not tell us? Sixth grader Aporva. Is that his last name, his first name? Is that his name, Opa Orva? Hard to say. But congratulations to him for winning the chess, or her for winning the chess tournament for the state. Awesome news there for some of those of you chess buffs out there. Like to play a little chess once in a while. I haven't done it in a long time. Probably I'll start doing that a little bit more. I got some grandsons in the house who probably love to play, learn a little bit more. Has been a spike in sales coming up on Valentine's Day. Get out there and get something for your honey, right? With Valentine's Day quickly approaching, Star City spoke with local businesses to see how they're doing. This is on the Star City website. Many are in the candy and chocolate mood this year at McCord's Candies, they said. So it's been pretty busy. People are coming in here mostly for chocolate. I would say a lot of stuff for little kids or little ones, little baskets of Valentine's Day stuff, Gina Simone said. but also obviously for the significant others as well. That's what, yeah, I'm telling you guys, get out there, take care of it. People across town are getting their flowers ordered and picked out. I think Valentine's Day is our favorite week and our busiest week of the year, Chris Campbell at Roth Florist said. As expected, roses are in high demand, but other flowers go great for the Valentine's Day as well. Roses are the number one asking flower, Campbell said, so we want to make sure we have enough inventory and that there's no shortages. She explained what flowers are best to get this time of the year. Red roses mean love, but we kind of steer them towards your pinks, towards lavender, something a little bit more subtle to say that you're interested, you really care about them. I'm going with red. Restaurants in the area are saying they're already booked up for Saturday night and expecting a busy weekend. We know we are all going to be here early to prepare. It's like a whole week for event for us. Edith Katinchi from Red Seven Bar and Grill said it's just being here and preparing. Hopefully, everything's runs smoothly on Saturday. Plenty of shops are expecting last minute shoppers before the holiday on Saturday, so things are looking up there. All right. That's a lot of the news, a big game that happened. We've got some of the weather out there. Let's check out some of the roads real quick. I'm gonna go hit some pictures here and show you what's going on. Du-du-du-du. All right, there we go. All right, there's the signs. There we are on State Road 43. The camera out there looks great. You go up the highway a little bit, there's State Road 18, come back to 43. Nothing there, just lots of sunshine. State Road 25, a beautiful day on hand right now. Very nice weather out there. Temperatures above normal for this time of the year. We normally average around 35 for a high. This time of the year, it's going to be somewhere in the low 40s to maybe even up to 45. It's currently 31 outside with sunny skies. The model here says 42 is where we're pressing to for the high, 41 tomorrow. And then we start to get in the 50s and even 60s for next week. That is great news for all of us. Locally, nothing happening on the satellite. Here we are. There's Lafayette where the cursor is. Some high clouds to our south. You can see some clouds coming off the lake. If you're going up towards Benton Harbor and hugging the lake up on Lake Michigan there into Michigan today, you'll probably see some lake effect snows at the least very light, but you can see the clouds coming off of the warm water right here. So the warm water stands out pretty easily as the dark patch, and then you can see the clouds coming off of it, streaming into western Michigan, right along the eastern portion of Lake Michigan itself. So, matter of fact, let's check real quick on the radar, see what we can see there. Yeah, you can see some of it popping off of the lake there. Not much though. Not much is happening. It looks like mostly clouds, probably just some flurries, and that's not being picked up by the radar very well at all. So, looking good on that front, at least as of right now. Now let's go back one shot, back to where we were, and now let's change and see what we're getting for visuals. See what we're starting to pick up. All right, we'll go to that last shot and we'll stop it there. You notice how it brightens up, right? Pretty easily. We're seeing there's no snow on the ground now, right? Here through Illinois and Indiana. Yesterday, we could still see snow on the ground out to this point, but this is all starting to dissipate out, melt. We can see the clouds coming off the lake very well now on the visual. You can see that. So here's about where South Bend is, LaPorte, Benton Harbor, moving up the lake. You're getting up towards, you go way up towards Travis City. Lots of clouds up there. Grand Rapids, that kind of thing. You see plenty of cloud cover up there. Rest of the state of Indiana, still some snow on the ground. Southeast of Indianapolis, looks like there's still plenty there and over in towards Ohio. Been colder over there than here, but they look like the warmth will be getting towards them, so they'll start melting too. And there's some clouds down towards St. Louis a little bit there. So that's what we're seeing on the visual shot right now. The other shot was the infrared shot, and it just takes a picture of the temperatures, but it gives us a good idea what's happening at night, especially. Here's some visual here, a little bit of clouds coming off of here, different type of format, but it does look like it's going to be a pretty quiet day for most of us. A sunny day. We see it out there on the skies right now from the cameras, and everything is looking pretty good for all of us this morning. That is going to be it for us. Let me get back out of here, say goodbye to you guys. We'll call it a day for now. You guys get out there, enjoy yourselves, have a good time with your weather this week. Try to stay warm. It's going to be plenty warm. I think a lot of us are going to be like, let's wear some short sleeves. I'm going to try to take the slingshot out this week sometime. If it hits 50, I'm definitely out there in the slingshot. I've driven it all the way down to 32, but the slingshot's a three-wheeled like motorcycle. type vehicle where two people can sit. So my slingshot's going to get out and about in this next week as temperatures go on the rise. Started up nicely the other day. I started up once a week, every 2 weeks or so, and it's been running pretty good. But we haven't had it out in about a month. I did take it out last month when it got real warm that one day or two. So kind of fun to do that. Maybe we'll get that out. I know some of you guys will be on your motorcycles because some of you, all it takes is 40 degrees and you're good. And I remember riding that cold all the time too. So maybe you're a bike rider and you would enjoy that too. But as for now, we're going to call it a day. I want you to do one thing for me today. Just take 1 minute out of your day, anytime. All right. Stop, calm yourself down for a moment. Pray to God just for a moment. 1 minute. I don't care what it's about. Think about what's happening in your life. Maybe it's a good thing. Pray about the blessings you're getting. Pray about the hard times that are tough on you. Take that minute and you pray to God. Just stop anywhere. I don't care where you're at. You decide 1 minute today. Pray to God. And start trying to do that every single day of your life. 1 minute to start. And then it can grow to 2 minutes and 5 minutes. It can grow into studying. It can grow into all kinds of different things. Pull God into you with your journey with you. He'll be on the path with you. He'll walk with you and you will find many blessings in your life if you do that. And I truly believe that despite all the things that have happened in my life, and I'm sure have happened in your life, I know I have many blessings and you do too. It's just hard to see those when we're in some of the troubles. So pull God to the side, pray to him for at least a minute today, and just talk to him about the good things and the bad things. All right. That's it for today. I will see you tomorrow. I'm Brian Burden. Let's talk Lafayette tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.